We will be looking at free and accessible education next. We will be looking at both these pieces of education, free and accessible, as a trend and as an issue. Free and accessible education in the developed world is already a trend, while in our part of the world it is seen as a major issue because with children not getting to schools and free and accessible education not being available to them, it hampers development and growth of society. In today's modern world, this is neither efficient nor desirable. No society wants to be one where education is not provided to all its citizens and where all the citizens are not contributing members of society. Despite encouraging developments, there are still an estimated 115 to 130 million children not attending schools today. With this issue, how do we get these children into schools? What do we as individuals, what does the government need to do? Who is going to step in and make sure that these children get the education they deserve? 90% of them live in low and lower middle income countries. And so this is part of a problem in the developing world and in the underdeveloped world. Pakistan is not the only nation that faces this issue. Other countries also face similar issues. Maybe it's time for these countries to get together, sit together, and come up with some collaborative ways of making sure our students get the education they deserve. Among those who do enroll in primary school, large numbers drop out before completing their primary education. As we've looked previously also, that is because of the hidden costs that these low-income families are not able to bear, even when there is no tuition fee for the school and even when free textbooks are being provided. UNESCO views free and accessible education as a dynamic approach of responding positively to pupil diversity. Because students will be different, they come from different family backgrounds, they come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, they come from different educational backgrounds, and so diversity among students will always be there. How do we deal with this diversity and how do we make sure that we accommodate this diversity? It is when classrooms and teachers are not able to accommodate this diversity that students tend to drop out and not complete their education. Therefore, the move towards free and accessible education is not simply a technical or organizational change, but also movement with a clear philosophy, a philosophy that guarantees education to all young children school-going age, not the ones who can afford it, not the ones who come from educated backgrounds, not the ones that come from intellectually stimulating backgrounds, but all different backgrounds need to be looked at. In order for free and quality education to be implemented effectively, countries need to define a set of inclusive principles, which simply means we will include all students, all children, no matter what background they come from, so that all students included receive the quality education that they should be deserving. All children have the right to receive the kind of education that does not discriminate on any grounds: caste, ethnicity, religion, economic status, refugee status, language, gender, disability, anything. As long as you are a child of school-going age, you need to be in school. And that specific measures must be taken by the state, which is the government, to implement these rights in all learning environments. No matter what school, government, private, rural, urban, it makes no difference. If you are a child, you need to be in a school. A rights-based education approach has three fundamental principles. If we say that this is the right of the child, then three basic fundamental principles need to be looked at. Access to free and compulsory education, it's there how accessible it is, how easily available it is. Equality, inclusion, and non-discrimination. All children, no matter what background they come from, will be part of it. And the right to quality education, content, and processes. So it's not just any education, it is quality education for all children. Implementing free and accessible education by initiating debates around how the community understands human rights. If we think this education is a right of the child, how does the community look at it? Generating collective thinking and identifying practical solutions. Getting people on board, getting people to believe in what you are trying to achieve, and then getting to the practical solutions, implementing what is just on paper. Linking the human rights movement with educational access. If this is a fundamental right, and our Constitution also provides this as a fundamental right to our children, then human rights and educational processes will have to meet up. Fostering grassroots action and strengthening its ties to the policy level, beginning at the grassroots, but making the connection with the policy. Unless policy dictates it, the change will not be apparent. Encouraging the creation of community and children's councils where issues of access can be discussed. Access issues need to be talked about. How, why, when, who, all these issues about access will need to be looked at. Developing community school mechanism to identify children not in school, as well as develop activities to ensure that children enroll in school and learn. So it's not simply looking at who is not in school, but also looking at who is in school and keeping them there so that learning does happen. Furthermore, adequate resources must be matched with political will and constituent pressure. It's not just opening schools, getting children there. If there are no resources, if there are no pens, pencils, copies, writing materials, and others, getting children to school will not be very fruitful. Ultimately, success will be judged by the quality of basic education provided to the learners. So the key word here is quality. Will our children, are our children today getting quality education in schools? Use education as a tool for social cohesion and integration by guaranteeing continuous access outside of teaching hours to educational and communal spaces to permit students to socialize and express their creativity, as well as to receive support with their school work. So it's not just in the classroom, it's also outside the classroom. It's involving the young students in their learning experiences, having them socialize, work in groups and teams so that they develop the skills they will need to be successful later in their lives.